Hello and welcome to Health Matters on Channels Television. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Alale Yusuf. The world is full of vibrant colors and sights. Imagine not being able to enjoy them. Well, that's what glaucoma can do to you. Glaucoma is a group of related eye disorders. It is a chronic, progressive, degenerative disorder of the optic nerve that produces characteristic visual field damage. According to the World Glaucoma Association, about 18 million people worldwide have glaucoma, and this figure is projected to increase to 111.8 million by 2040. Approximately 50% of the individuals with glaucoma are unaware that they have the disease, and this number may be higher even because of underreporting in underdeveloped countries. This is because it's in its early stages, glaucoma is asymptomatic. It has no symptoms. If untreated, glaucoma may progress to blindness. Yet, 1 billion people do not have access to care. On the program with me is a consultant ophthalmologist and the president of the Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria and a member of the National Eye Health Committee, Dr. Abiola Uyeleye. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me again.
Glaucoma is described as a family of diseases. Who's in this family?
Okay. Right. If we want to talk about glaucoma, basically we're talking about the optic nerve. And the optic nerve is a nerve that connects the eye to the brain.
Okay.
So, yes. So I have a model here, and this is the eye, okay? And this little object at the back,
that's the optic nerve.
That's the optic nerve. It connects the eye to the brain. So if you can see very well with your eye, and then the messenger or the connection to the brain is not functioning,
which is the nerve,
the optic nerve, then you don't see anything. So glaucoma is the name of disease, a group of diseases that affect the optic nerve, that is the nerve at the back of your eye, which connects to the brain.
Okay, but you know, they say a family of diseases. So it's like there's more than one type of glaucoma.
There are other causes of what we call optic neuropathy.
Okay.
That's problems with the optic nerve. There are many other causes of problems with the optic nerve. Some of them are due to inflammatory problems with the optic nerve, when you can get optic nerve swelling, either from a problem within the brain that is now coming forwards and making the optic nerve swell. So there are
or maybe an accident, blew to the head.
Trauma, yes. Trauma could also cause problems with the optic nerve, whereby you have some what we call transection. That means the optic nerve is cut, or the blood supply to the optic nerve is disrupted. Okay. So you also have some problems with blood supply, apart from inflammatory problems that could affect the optic nerve as well. So there are quite a lot of problems that could affect the optic nerve.
But that's not the case with glaucoma.
Right.
Yet the optic nerve messaging is disrupted. What causes the disruption in glaucoma of that messaging?
Thank you very much. Now, the problem in glaucoma is actually starting from the eye itself.
Okay.
The eye makes fluid inside the eye, and it drains the fluid. So there's production and drainage.
Okay.
And there should be a rate of production and a rate of drainage. And we now check what we call the pressure in the eye to see whether the eye is, for example, if you have a football and you overpump it, you feel it's very hard on the tire of a car, yes. And if you underpump it, you see the tire is flat or so. So there is a pressure regulation in the eye, and there's what we call a normal pressure. Now, when the pressure goes high, it could lead to glaucoma, because what happens, the pressure goes high, the eye gets hard, and the weakest point...
Because there's too much fluid in it?
There's too much, yes. And the weakest point in the eye is the optic nerve. So that pressure, which we call intraocular pressure, damages the nerve of the eye, okay? Now, we have a subgroup within glaucoma whereby your pressure is normal, but the nerve still gets damaged. And that's where I don't want to go too technical, but we talk about the blood supply to the optic nerve may have been compromised even though the pressure is normal.
Okay.
So that's what we call
and that
normal
blood supply
pressure
is like the life, is
of
the oxygen
nerve,
supplier.
yes, to the optic nerve. That's
Okay.
right.
Could this be a function of age? Why is this pressure going up?
The pressure is usually going up because the drainage is being compromised. Like I told you, production and drainage. And as you get older, the drainage is not functioning as it was when we were younger. The older you get, the more likely you are to have glaucoma. It doesn't mean you'll get glaucoma.
Just because you're old.
Yes, but the older you are, the more likely you are to have glaucoma. So the drainage channels are not functioning as well as they used to. They're getting clogged. So the fluid cannot drain out of the eye, stays more within the eye, and now forcing itself out of the eye through those channels. But when all that is happening, the nerve at the back of the eye
is being
is taking the
impinged
brunt.
upon.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. So are there other risk factors that could lead to glaucoma apart from age?
Okay. Yes, there are many risk factors. The number one modifiable risk factor, which we just mentioned, is the pressure in the eye. Age, as you said, is another risk factor.
We can't help that.
We can help that. Family history is another thing that you cannot help. If there is glaucoma in your family, it doesn't mean you'll get glaucoma. It just makes you more likely than somebody who doesn't have glaucoma in their family to get glaucoma. Then one other thing, race. Glaucoma is a more serious disease in Africans than Europeans.
Why?
So, it's more serious and it's more aggressive and then the treatment itself doesn't seem to work as well
on the black man as the white.
Yes. And since I mentioned treatment, let me just go on with that. There are three modalities of treating glaucoma: medication, laser treatment, surgery. Medication, laser treatment, and surgery.
So you go and poke a hole at the back somewhere for the fluid to drain, right?
Okay, yes, you're going straight to surgery, yes. So surgery is creating an alternative channel for the fluid to come out of the eye. Now, you know, we blacks, we heal very quickly, okay? I mean, you have an injury and the blacks heal very quickly. So the channel you are creating, nature is allowing us to heal very quickly. And the nature doesn't realize that that channel is meant to help the eye.
Oh, so it closes up.
It closes up.
Oh, dear.
So doing glaucoma, we have to take extra steps to prevent it closing up in blacks.
Okay.
Or even Asians as well. Okay, so that's why it's more difficult to treat a glaucoma patient surgically. Now, medically as well, we don't seem to respond as well medically, that's to medication, as well as the Caucasians do. So it's a more aggressive disease, and it's more difficult to treat. Even in Nigerians, depending on where you're from in the country, we've now realized that there are certain areas, for example, the Igbos are more likely to have glaucoma at an earlier age.
You've done your research. That's deep.
Well, this is, I mean, it has first been noticed years ago, but now I think it's an accepted thing.
So is it that they heal faster than other?
We don't know why. Okay. We don't even know whether it's related to diet or anything, even though no evidence has shown that, but we have shown it clearly that the Igbos
are more likely to get glaucoma. Okay, now, you know, glaucoma takes away the sight of a person.
That's right.
Now, one might ask, because I've seen a lot of people saying, no, I see fine. They ask, how can you tell me I'm losing my sight when I can see? I mean, shouldn't I know I'm losing my sight? Can you unravel that for us?
Okay. Glaucoma is called the silent thief of sight. And in the early stages of glaucoma, you won't know you have glaucoma at all. because it's damaging the nerve fibers, and it's your peripheral vision that's been damaged first. So you start losing your peripheral vision, but you can still see as well as you used to in the distance.
Okay.
So as you lose your peripheral vision, you are not aware because you are still seeing the
Right in
beautiful
front of
things
you.
of the world in front of you. It gets to a stage now that sometimes you might actually lose the sight of one eye completely, which is quite common. And you don't even realize you've lost the sight of one eye. And then you now realize that, hang on, maybe if you are driving, you find that you're not judging things well on maybe your right side, or you are bumping into things.
Yes, you
or
would bump into things,
people.
right?
Yes, exactly.
Even walking.
That's right.
Okay.
So those are the things that make people aware they have glaucoma. But by this time, you may have had glaucoma for several years, and it had reached near the end stage. So that's why they say it's a silent thief of sight.
So is there never any pain?
Okay, in the glaucoma we're talking about in this part of the world, which we call the open angle glaucoma, which is about 99% of the glaucomas we have here, there's no pain. In the closed angle or the acute glaucoma, where the glaucoma, the pressure comes up suddenly, there's pain.
Okay, let's just camp there for a while. Yeah. Who gets that kind of glaucoma? And how often does it happen? Okay, 1%. From what you said. But where does it happen? Okay. Where?
It's 1% in, about 1% in our race. Okay. If you go to the Asian community or the Chinese or the people of Chinese extraction, it's about 60-70% in there.
Does it have anything to do with the way their eyes are shaped?
Yes. In theory, the smaller your eye, the more likely you are to get it.
Okay.
Because what happens, the lens in the eye as we get older gets thicker, and it also gets cloudy, and that's what we call a cataract. And a cataract is taking up more space in the eye than it should take up. So at some stage, it blocks the internal dynamics of the fluid I said we were producing and drain. The internal dynamics are affected, so it doesn't drain out as it should, and the pressure goes up suddenly. So that's what we call acute or closed or narrow angle glaucoma. Okay. But the one we've been talking about
is
before
the open angle.
Is the primary or the open angle glaucoma.
So it's a silent thief of the sight.
That's right.
There's no pain. The person probably doesn't know he's losing his vision because he can see straight in front of him with the same clarity that he saw before the glaucoma started to eat the sight.
Exactly.
So how does he find out he has glaucoma?
Right. The only way to find out before it gets to the stage whereby you sort of bump into things is to have an eye test. That's the only way to find out. And who has an eye test? In Nigeria, we tend to say we want to have an eye test when we perceive we have sight problems. Mm-hmm. Because like we had just described now, you can have the glaucoma without having sight problems. So we wait until we perceive something, and that's too late. So to get it diagnosed early, which is one of the most important things in glaucoma management, you need to have a sight test or an eye test and ask to be tested for glaucoma. It's not just about what you can see. You shouldn't have to ask, but most tests are concentrating on what you can see. Can glasses help you? Can help you in the distance? Can it help you read? That's what most tests are.
And that's actually what most people are looking for because they don't know any better.
Exactly. But if you don't have the glaucoma test, you could do all the tests and you're told you have 20/20, your vision is perfect and everything. But if glaucoma is not checked for, you never know. And the basic things we do to check for glaucoma at routine eye tests. Number one, like we had mentioned, check the pressure in the eye. That's number one. Number two, look at the optic nerve. So you have instruments whereby you could look through the eye and see the optic nerve. The instruments could be ones that are handheld, or it could be one that's on a machine that's static. But the important thing is that the nerves should be looked at. Now, based on the results of the first two tests, you now decide whether or not you need to probe further, because as expected, there are so many other tests. But the important thing at a screening test, the pressures should be checked, the nerves should be looked at. So those two things, when they are done, and if they are interpreted properly, you pick up most, if not all, most of the glaucoma patients there. Obviously, one or two that.
Let's take this up again after the break. Stay with us. We are going for a short break. Welcome back. You can call 0808 054 2233 if you want to learn more about the topic. This is Health Matters on Channels Television, and we're discussing glaucoma. You can also tweet at CTV_Mary A, or send email moalale@channelstv.com while we continue the conversation. You want to hear about your eyes, especially when they tell you that it's more prevalent in the black man. So, doctor, you said two things before we went on break. Check the pressure and
look at the nerve.
Look at the nerve. Now, you also spoke of normal tension glaucoma.
That's right.
So you check the pressure, and perchance the pressure is fine.
Studies have shown that about 30 to 40% of people at diagnosis of glaucoma have normal pressures.
That is a lot.
Yes.
30 to 40%.
That's right. So checking the pressures, if the pressures are normal, doesn't mean the individual doesn't have glaucoma. That's why it's also very important to look at the nerve of the back of the eye. If you check the pressures, they are normal, and the nerves show some inkling or suspicion of glaucoma, then you have to go further with the tests.
Okay, before we go further, you will enlighten me. You said that the pressure of the fluid is what destroys the optic nerve.
Yes.
But now we have a normal pressure.
Yes.
But before we go there, let's talk to Dapo. Hello, Dapo. Are you there, Dapo? It seems we've lost him. So tell me about this normal tension pressure. How come the nerve is still being destroyed?
You know, I'd mentioned there is what we call the vascular theory.
Okay.
That means the blood supply to the nerve may be compromised. So yes, in terms of discussing glaucoma, it's not all about pressure. But the reason why we emphasize pressure is because it is modifiable by us, either in the ways of treatments like I'd mentioned before. Excuse me. But the vascular supply to the nerve, if whatever it is compromised, then it also affects the optic nerve, and you also get, going back to the terminology, optic neuropathy.
So you have got to check the nerve.
You have to look at the nerve.
You just have to look at that nerve.
You have to look at the nerve.
And then when you decide you want to go further with your tests, what do you do?
Okay. Now, going further with your test, there are some other specialist tests we need to do. There is a test we call the visual field analysis.
Okay, so you're going to check how far the person can see towards the side, right?
Exactly. In front, at the side, top, at the bottom. And there are some certain patterns we've recognized in people who have glaucoma. When the optic nerve is damaged, the nerve fibers are damaged in a certain pattern.
And once you see that pattern, it looks like glaucoma.
It looks like glaucoma.
Let's quickly take Joel before we continue. Sorry to interrupt. Hello, Joel. Are you there?
Hello?
Yes, Joel. What's your question?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Go ahead with your question. We can hear you.
Joel is calling me from Bonny Island in River State.
Okay. Oh, Bonny Island, River State. Okay. So, what's your question?
What is actually the problem? One is having a kind of blood vision.
Vision. Okay.
Now, what do you say when one is having a kind of blood vision? And when you stretches your eyes, you are sandy. Sandy from the eye. So what is the cause?
And all right. Okay, Joe. Thank you very much. I think the doctor can tackle that.
Right. So the two questions, one is blurry vision and one is a sandy sensation in the eye. Now, there could be so many causes of blurry vision. In terms of visual impairments in the world, the number one cause is that those who need glasses but don't have glasses
have blurred vision.
They have blurred vision. So it could be for sight, it could be for reading as we get above the age of 40. So the number one cause is those who need glasses but don't have. Number two cause of blindness or visual impairments in the world is cataracts.
Oh yes, and that could cause blurred vision.
That could cause blurred
Allow
vision.
me, I think I saw a cataract here. There's something in this lens.
Yes. It's probably better we show you the normal lens first.
Okay.
The normal lens in the eye is clear.
Okay.
The lens is completely clear. Okay. For various reasons, you could now see that the lens can get cloudy in some certain areas. When the lens gets cloudy, that is a cataract.
And it causes blurred
And
vision.
it causes blurred vision, and it could lead to blindness. It's the number one cause of blindness worldwide, which is reversible.
Okay, and that's a topic for another
That's
day.
a topic for another
Let's
day.
go back to glaucoma.
Glaucoma is the number one cause of irreversible blindness.
Irreversible blindness.
Yes.
Which brings me to this point. People say, oh, I'm being treated for glaucoma. Why am I not seeing better?
Okay. So I'll take that question, but let me just deal with Joel's last question about the sandy feeling.
Oh, yes.
Okay. If your eyes are dry, you get a sandy feeling in your eye. Normally, you make the eye, you have some tears, which are fluid outside the eye now, which is there to lubricate the eye. If the eyes are dry because of a harsh environment or so, you have that sandy feeling in your eye. So the most common cause of sandy feeling in the eye is dryness.
Which you can just solve by making the eye wet, right?
That's it, Maya. We have what we call artificial teardrops.
Let's quickly take Charlie. Hello, Charlie. Charlie from Surulere, I believe. Are you there? We just lost Charlie. So about the dry eyes.
Okay, dry eyes on your previous question.
You said the sandy feeling.
Yes. Okay.
I know that some people say they have an allergy.
Right. Allergy is another cause, and most of the times when you have allergy, it could be at a certain time in the year. It could be the beginning of Harmattan. It could be when it starts raining. And what happens is the environment gets polluted, so to speak. Harmattan everywhere is dusty. When it starts raining, the dust on the trees are being displayed, or sometimes it can be due to pollen in the environment. But whatever it is, it irritates the eyes, okay? And the eyes end up being itchy, and you start rubbing on the eyes and things like that.
And it's not good to rub the eyes.
No, definitely
I think
not.
Everybody knows that. They get more painful.
Yes.
But it's on this note we have to end the program. Thank you so very much for coming. You have treated not only glaucoma, but you said a bit about cataracts and a bit about allergies. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you so much. And I think the take-home message is go and have an eye test. Ask to be tested for glaucoma.
Go and have an eye test and ask to be tested for glaucoma. You could save your sight. Thank you for watching the program. Thank you for calling, Joel. And those were wonderful questions. Everybody else, have a wonderful day. I am Mary Alalesu.